The horizon bled crimson. A gruesome dawn painted the sky, a harbinger of the coming carnage. Empress Lyra, clad in silver armor, stood atop the command tent. Her heart throbbed against the cold steel, a steady rhythm of defiance against the encroaching dread. The enemy outnumbered them, their banners a black tide at the edge of the plains. Fear, a venomous serpent, coiled in the pits of her warriors' stomachs. Lyra, her gaze resolute, drew a deep breath. Fear was a luxury she couldn't afford. Not today. The wind whipped her crimson cape, a splash of defiance against the bleak landscape. She raised her hand, her silver gauntlet glinting under the blood-soaked sky. A hush fell over the assembled ranks, anticipation crackling in the air. Today we fight, her voice, though calm, resonated with the strength of 1,000 storms. Today we defend our homes, our families, our empire. The air crackled with the clang of steel as her warriors raised their weapons in unison, a chorus of defiance echoing across the plains. Their faces, hardened by years of training and loyalty, reflected the Empress's own unwavering resolve. General Marcus, a grizzled veteran, knelt before her. "My Empress, our blades are yours. Our lives are yours." Lyra nodded, her gaze sweeping over her warriors, each one a testament to their loyalty. They were the shield that protected her empire, and she, their Empress, would lead them to victory. The battlefield stretched before them, a desolate expanse of trampled grass and parched earth. It was a canvas upon which destiny would be painted with the blood of heroes and villains alike. The air hung heavy with anticipation, the silence before the storm pregnant with unspoken fear and unwavering courage. To the north, a dense forest loomed, its dark silhouette a stark contrast against the pale sky. It was there, under the cover of ancient trees, that the enemy lay hidden, waiting to unleash their fury. The sun climbed higher, casting long shadows that danced ominously on the battlefield. Lyra could almost taste the tension, thick and suffocating like the smoke from a dying fire. A lone raven circled overhead, its mournful cry a chilling reminder of the countless souls that would soon be claimed by this unforgiving earth. This was a place where legends were born and broken, where history was written in the language of blood and steel. And today Lyra knew she would etch her own name into the annals of this hallowed ground. The earth trembled. A guttural roar ripped through the silence as the enemy surged forward, a black wave crashing against the shore of Lyra's defenses. The first clash of steel on steel was deafening, a cacophony of ringing metal and agonized screams. Lyra, astride her warhorse, Shadowfax, plunged into the heart of the battle. Her silver blade flashed, a beacon of hope amidst the chaos. She fought with the grace of a dancer and the fury of a tempest, her every strike precise and deadly. Around her, her warriors fought with equal fervor, their loyalty a shield against the enemy's onslaught. Blood splattered across the battlefield, staining the parched earth a gruesome crimson. The air grew thick with the stench of sweat, fear, and death. But despite their valor, the enemy's numbers were overwhelming. Lyra watched in horror as one by one her warriors fell, their bodies swallowed by the tide of black armor. Despair, cold and insidious, gnawed at the edges of her resolve. Hope, it seemed, was a flickering candle in the face of a raging inferno. Section 5. An Empress's Fury, Turning the Tide. Rage, a primal force, surged through Lyra's veins. Grief for her fallen warriors fueled her fury, transforming her from a ruler into a whirlwind of righteous wrath. Her silver blade became a blur, reaping a bloody harvest among the enemy ranks. "For the Empire!" she roared, her voice hoarse but unwavering. Inspired by their Empress's ferocity, the remaining warriors of Lyra's army fought with renewed vigor. They pushed back against the enemy onslaught, their shields a wall of iron against the tide of darkness. Lyra, her armor stained with the blood of her enemies and her own, became a beacon of hope on the battlefield. Where she went, the enemy faltered. Where she struck, they shattered. Slowly, painstakingly, the tide of battle began to turn. But victory, Lyra knew, was a fickle mistress, and the enemy, though momentarily repelled, was far from defeated. Section 6. Betrayal's Sting, the Enemy Within. A chilling horn blast pierced the air, its mournful cry sending a tremor of dread through Lyra's heart. It was a sound she knew well, a sound that heralded the arrival of fresh troops, but these were not the reinforcements she had hoped for. From the tree line, a new force emerged, their banners a horrifyingly familiar shade of blue and silver. Betrayal, sharp and cold like a dagger thrust, twisted in Lyra's gut. It was Duke Lucian, her own cousin, leading a contingent of her own soldiers against her. "You!" she screamed, her voice raw with rage and disbelief. "You dare betray me?" Lucian, his face a mask of cold ambition, smirked. "The throne rightfully belongs to me, dear cousin," he sneered, "and today I intend to claim it." The horns blared again, a triumphant taunt that mocked Lyra's despair. The enemy, invigorated by this unexpected turn of events, surged forward once more. Lyra's heart sank. Betrayed by her own blood, surrounded by enemies, hope seemed to wither and die. Section 7. A warrior sacrifice for Empress and realm. General Marcus, his face a mask of grim determination, rode up beside his Empress. "Go, my Empress!" he urged, his voice barely audible above the din of battle. "We will hold them off. Save yourself!" Lyra hesitated, her heart torn between duty and survival. She couldn't abandon her remaining loyal warriors, not while they still drew breath. But Marcus was right. She was the Empire's last hope. Her death would mean their doom. "For the Empire!" Marcus roared, charging into the fray, a one-man wall of steel against the oncoming horde. Lyra watched in agony as he fell beneath a wave of enemy soldiers, his sacrifice buying her precious moments to escape. With a heart heavy with grief and a soul burning with a desire for vengeance, Lyra spurred Shadowfax away from the carnage. The cries of her dying warriors echoed in her ears, fueling her resolve. She would not let their sacrifice be in vain. She would avenge them. She would reclaim her throne. Section 8. Hope's last stand against the shadow. Lyra, guided by the setting sun, rode towards the distant mountains. Her escape had not gone unnoticed. Lucian's forces pursued relentlessly. Ahead lay the ancient fortress of Eldoria. It was lightly guarded. Reaching the gates, she hammered on the thick oak. Moments later, the iron-barred peephole slid open. A pair of wary eyes peered out. "Who dares disturb the peace of Eldoria?" a gruff voice demanded. "It is I, Empress Lyra," she replied. "I seek refuge." With a clank of chains, the gates of Eldoria swung open. For now at least, she was safe. Section 9. The Empress's Gambit, a calculated risk. Within Eldoria's ancient walls, a fire crackled in the hearth, casting flickering shadows on the stone walls. Lyra, her armor discarded, paced the cold floor, her mind racing. She had escaped with her life, but her empire, her people, were still in peril. Hope, though battered and bruised, flickered within her. She had to act, had to find a way to turn the tide. Summoning the fortress commander, a grizzled veteran named Darius, Lyra laid out a daring plan. It was a gamble, a desperate throw of the dice, but it was a chance, however slim, to reclaim what was hers. Darius, initially skeptical, warmed to the plan's audacity. He pledged Eldoria's support, offering what few men he could spare. It was a drop in the ocean compared to Lucian's forces, but it was a start. Lyra, her eyes alight with determination, sent messengers to her remaining loyal lords, urging them to rally to her banner. This was her gambit, her last stand. The fate of the Empire rested on the sharpness of her mind and the courage of her remaining followers. Section 10. Victory's Embrace, a Song of Triumph. The final battle for the Empire unfolded beneath a sky choked with smoke and ash. Lyra, astride Shadowfax, led the charge, her silver armor gleaming like a beacon of hope. The forces she had rallied, though smaller, fought with the righteous fury of those defending their homeland. The element of surprise was theirs. Lucian, overconfident from his initial victory, had not anticipated such a swift and decisive counterattack. The battle raged, a maelstrom of steel and screams, but this time the tide had turned. Lyra, her blade a whirlwind of death, carved a path through the enemy ranks, her eyes fixed on one goal, Lucian. Their blades met in a shower of sparks, a clash of destinies. He fought with the desperation of a cornered animal, but Lyra, fueled by righteous fury, was unstoppable. With a final decisive strike, she disarmed him, her blade at his throat. The world held its breath. The battle around them ceased as Lyra's victory cry, raw and triumphant, echoed across the blood-soaked field. The rebellion was broken. The Empire was hers once more. Section 11. Legacy of Valor, Echoes of the Battle. As the sun dipped below the horizon, Lyra surveyed the battlefield. The cost of victory weighed heavily on her heart. So many lives lost, so much blood spilled, yet through the grief, a flicker of hope remained. The rebellion was crushed, Lucian captured, and the Empire would heal. Under her rule, Lyra vowed, it would emerge stronger. The memory of the battle would serve as a solemn reminder of the cost of freedom. The echoes of that day would forever be etched in the annals of the empire. Lyra, the empress who emerged triumphant, would be remembered for her victories and the compassion with which she rebuilt her kingdom.